Hey guys, I'm Jade. Today is my LeetCode review vlog on the 48th problem, rotate image. We are given an n times n to the matrix representing an image. We have to rotate the image by 90 degrees in a clockwise direction. We have to rotate the image in place, which means we have to modify the input to the matrix directly. Let's see the example 1 here. We have to move 1 to here, 2 to here, 3 to here, and so on. Then, let's get started with our intuition to solve the problem. When we rotate the matrix by 90 degrees clockwise, each element at position of I, j will changes to a new position. And let's write down the notes. We have to move I, j to the position of j n minus I minus 1. And n stands for the dimension of matrix. But the problem is we have to do this in place, so we can just directly move those elements to the new position, as we will replace the new value with the old value and we'll lost the old value. So we can do this by 2 steps with only 1 extra space to solve the problem. So the first step is we have to transpose the matrix, which is transpose the matrix. And the detail is we have to swipe elements along the main diagonal. Swipe elements along the main diagonal, which is we have to move the element at the position of move element at I, j to j, I. And this is the first step, which is the transposition. And the second step is we can reverse each row. Reverse each row. After the transposition, we have to reverse each row of the matrix corresponds to flipping the elements horizontally. So the responding movement is we have to move j, I to j, n minus I minus 1. This means the first element of each row would go to the last, and the second to the second last, and so on. And that's all of the intuition. Next, let's get started with our detailed code and explanation. So the first step is we have to get the length of the matrix. Let's say n equals matrix dot length. And we'll use n in the further code. And the step 1 is the transposition, which is transpose. And code is we can have a for loop. Let's say int I started at 0 and I should be less than n, and increment I after each iteration. Inside the first for loop, we have to create a nested for loop. Let's say for int j started at I and j should be less than n, and increment j after each iteration. And the reason that why j starts I, it is because we have to iterate through the upper triangle of the matrix, which makes j start from I, and to avoid retransposing, And inside the nested for loop, we are going to create a temp variable to swap those two elements. Let's say matrix of I, j, and matrix of I and j could be assigned to the value of matrix of j and I. Oops. Then we assigned the temp value to matrix of j and I. Matrix j and I can be assigned to value of temp. And that's all the code for the first nested for loop. And the second step is we have to reverse each row. Reverse each row. And the code is very similar. We have to create a nested for loop first. Let's say for loop int I started at 0. I should be less than n and increment I. And the second for loop, let's say int j started at 0 and j should be less than n divided by 2. And we have to increment j. This is because we only go up to half of the row. And inside the second for loop, which is very similar, we have to create a temp variable to help us swap the two elements at corresponding position. Let's say in temp equals matrix of I of j, and matrix of I of j should be assigned to matrix of I of n minus j minus 1. Then let's copy this code. Matrix of I, comma n minus j minus 1 can be assigned to the value of temp. And that's all code for the second nested for loop. And then let's run it to check for the correctness. And the time complexity for this problem is big O of n squared. Big O, oops. Big O of n squared. This is because each element is accessed a constant number of times, leading to a quadratic time complexity related to the dimension of the matrix. And then the space complexity is big O of 1. This is because all of the rotation is done in place using only several constant amount of extra space to swap elements. And this is the end of my LeetCode review blog on the rotate image problem. I really recommend you to visit my online GitHub page. Here, you can see detailed problem description, intuition, and idea, Java code with detailed explanations, and final complexity analysis. And you can also visit my GitHub page for this online GitHub page, which is built by Doxify. You can see all of the source code and assets on my GitHub repository here. And I'll put those two links on my YouTube description below. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.